Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street Tarot and Seasons from Ritual. It is January 1st, 2025. And I just wanted to jump on really fast to address the tragedy that happened early this morning on Bourbon Street here in New Orleans. Um, First and foremost, thank you to everyone who's reached out and even to see how the city is doing, and even strangers that have just direct messages me, and a couple of you have booked readings, virtual readings, and have sent love to the city, and that's felt. So thank you for all that. Um, I'll just say, like, they know it's an ongoing investigation, so we'll keep up with that way. But there was a couple themes that I kind of wanted to touch on that I thought we could bring into the new year. It is the 1/1 portal because every month has a portal day, and it's usually the same day as it is the month. So this would be because it's the first month, so it would be the 1/1 portal. The moon is in Aquarius right now, and or moving into Aquarius. I don't know if she's 100% moved from Capricorn to Aquarius. I'll look at that, but I just kind of jumped on. Um, and a lot of, and when my mom was texting me this morning, and she was talking about, Jamie, didn't you say something about the planets, um, moving, and um, could this be a cause? And I said, honestly, Mom, um, you know, a lot of times I think people would probably say this is because of the Mars-Pluto opposition. Aries is just now at the 0 degree point, the North Node at Aries. And that very well could be, those themes very well could be with the astrology. I haven't really looked into the astrology with this, because I didn't want to come on there and say this is happening mainly because of the planets. Yes, we are influenced by the planets. That's why I do astrology. That's why I read astrology. Um, and there is this energy that is there. I would ask you guys to go back and look at the video I did for the theme of 2025, which is emotional intelligence. I think that's going to be a big theme. Um, you know, Mars is moving back into Cancer, and Mars being at Leo, retrograde, lower Leo is the ego. Mars to me was that god of war. Um, to me, I see him now as a spiritual warrior. And so when I'm reading these planets and I see them in these higher vibrations, it doesn't mean that the lower vibration still isn't there. But what it does mean is that I like to have us start to focus on the higher vibrations, because when we see these higher vibrations, that is what we start vibrating at, and that's how we change the energy on the planet. It doesn't mean that we need to excuse or ignore or not see what's going on. Or for most of us, I mean, we feel this, we can feel the grief. And that is something that I would like to touch on, that violence affects all of us, even if it's not right next to us. Like what happened in the French Quarter is affecting the entire community of New Orleans, and it's affecting those, people very acutely that were there. So, people were just trying to go and have a good time, and and this violent act happened. And we are getting to a point, I mean, we're actually at the breaking point where as a society and as a group, this idea that we all get hurt by one person and their actions is starting to fade. And so we need to take notice of that. And one way we take notice of that is starting to make sure we're taking accountability for ourselves, but also making sure we hold the people accountable that is supposed to be keeping us, quote unquote, safe. They were supposed to have barriers in the French Quarter, because when I first heard about this, the first thing I thought was, how could a truck go down Bourbon Street? They have barriers that keep cars out. And they said they didn't. They weren't working. They were flat. Okay. And again, unacceptable. Second of all, there's plenty, you should have a plan B, C, D, or E, right? Especially because one of the one things that New Orleans does very well is handle large groups. Usually the French Quarter is extremely safe at things like this because there is such a large police presence because they do have plans that they follow, protocol. And so the fact that that wasn't, and then this happened is very disheartening because they do have plans. And so this is the part that I really want to talk about, not so much the astrology, but on this 1/1 portal, and we're seeing these things, it's time for us to really come back and reflect upon ourselves. Like, what are the tools that we have that keep us safe? What are the tools that we have that maybe we just been ignoring or haven't been polishing or taking for granted? Like, oh, it'll be fine. And this isn't a cause for alarm or a cause for, to freak out or stress out, but it is on this 1/1 portal. I would like for us to remember or kind of go over like, wait, I know how to do these things. Have I been doing them? And it could be simple as like, wait, I do go for walks. We talk about these things like go for walks because it's good for your mental health and it's, just good to exercise. But there's a reason, if you can go for a walk, go for a walk. It's there to help you. And if you've been ignoring that, go back to basics. If you liked reading, start reading again, on this 1/1 portal, focus on the things that have already been put in place that have helped you that maybe you've haven't been doing, you know. Maybe go back to a little bit of a routine or if you're not in a routine, but you were like, I really appreciated when I was in a routine, get yourself in a new routine. Um, because the energy on the planet is moving very quickly. As we can see, timelines are collapsing. But it's really time, especially in 2025, with this year of endings. We've got to end not holding ourselves accountable, and we've got to end not holding the powers that be that are supposed to protect us accountable. This city got $40 million to put those barricades up so this kind of shit doesn't happen. And we can't allow that we can't allow people not to be held accountable for that, right? Like that's just where we are in our society. We have to say, okay, what happened and why didn't you have a plan B? And the person who was supposed to have the plan B, unfortunately, is going to have to take accountability for this. At the same time, we as citizens need to start taking accountability. We need to go to city council meetings. Maybe we need to get involved with neighborhood groups and not weirdo, especially here, like the Nextdoor app is insane. I'm not on it, but really like helpful neighborhood meetings, right? What is going on? How can we help our communities? What can we do to make our communities better? This 1/1 portal is here to bring in this energy of what we want, but it is definitely going to show us what needs to end. And actually this whole year is going to show us what needs to end. In my other video, I said, feel free to make a list of things that you want to end in your life. That's okay. I know a lot of times in the new age community, we don't focus on the negative, right? But we're really surrounded by the negative almost all the time, like every day. So it's okay to list those things that you want to end. And you can put them like over here, and then you list the things that you want to have come in, and they should be happening simultaneously. The nodes of fate are about to move into Pisces and Virgo. So right now, like I said, North Node is at 0 degrees, which is a point, it's an Earth point, planet, a cosmic point on the planet. So everyone feels this. And then the South Node is at 0 degrees of Libra. And it is leaving behind that people pleasing and then showing up with who we are. And it's really time to show up with this new authenticity to say, this is who I am. I don't find this acceptable. It doesn't have to be bananas town, but it's time for people to start showing up. But it's really time for you to start showing up for yourself. This is how I want to live. This is how I want my space to look. This is the amount of money I want to make. And and you've got to get there energetically first. And it can be hard when we're surrounded by violence, lack mentality, um, poverty. Those are the things that keep us small for good reason because they keep us scared, right? And so this time where we're ending that fear vibration. And it's not to say like there won't be things that frighten us or scare us, like everyone's going to go see Nosferatu. That's scary, right? And there is a little bit of that healthy, fear to like keep us safe. But the overarching energy of fear, and lack, that lack mentality is really starting to end. And the way we do that is just being present, um, and noticing where we are every day. And when it comes in, just noticing it, and then remembering the tools that we have to help keep pushing us forward. We have to start taking accountability for our feelings. We have to start taking accountability for our mental health. We have to start taking accountability for um, just our lives. And the beautiful thing about that is when you have community, there are people to help you. There are people, you have friends, right? And you can reach out to your friends and you can say, can you come over, maybe help me do this? Or I'm having a little trouble with this. Do you know anyone? Do you think you can help me? Right. And that's that spirit of Aquarius, where it's the individual and the collective. Um, and yeah, Pluto's there. Pluto's bringing these feelings up, transforming lower Aquarius, which is the lone wolf mentality. Aquarius and its lower vibes feels alone. Look, there's my wolves, my lone wolf. Um, it feels really misunderstood, and feels like no one gets them. People think they're super eccentric and a little aloof. And if you're starting to feel those, reach out to people. People do like you, people do love you. People do want to help you, people will have a conversation with you. But it's time for us to take accountability for ourselves. And a lot of times, as women, we take too much accountability for everyone else. Um, and that's that feminine energy on the planet, that toxic feminine energy that on the planet that doesn't allow us to take care of ourselves. And, we went through this big wave where women were telling ourselves we are enough. We are enough, like we are enough because that patriarchal theme of why aren't you enough? Why aren't you doing more? And, we all had degrees, we all had more than one degree. A lot of women had families, a lot of women have jobs. And then it was still like, but you don't know how to fix the fan in the living room, or you didn't schedule someone to do this, and it was just like enough. So, with that enough mentality, it's time to take care of yourself, right? It's okay to ask other people to help. It is okay to bring in other people who do things. I'm going to have someone come in, I think, and hang a couple hooks because I don't have a stud finder. And I'm not going to go get one. Is it something I could do? Yes, it is. Is it something I've done in the past? It is. But do I want to do it right now? No. And that's okay. And that's okay. Because the way that I want to spend my time and the way that I want to create and the way that I want to work with others, I can have more of that if I just reach out for help. If I take that accountability on myself to say, I really don't want to do this. And that's okay. It doesn't make me less of a person. Just means I'm going to call Sam and he's going to come over here and do it. And so on this 1-1 portal, when we have this tragic news, you know, I want us to be in that idea of coming out of duality. And duality keeps perpetuating itself when we keep doing to others things that we don't like, right? But if I don't like this idea of violence, then I make sure that I'm nonviolent. And with that, that takes us out of duality. It doesn't mean that, duality is going to be completely off the planet overnight, because it's a very strong vibration. But it is this idea that um, you can show up in a way that doesn't perpetuate the duality. In holding people accountable, holding yourself accountable is actually, it can be a very loving way. It can be a very gentle way in order to keep things moving in the direction you want them to. So just remember that on this 1/1 portal. Okay, you guys. Um, I hopefully will be doing more videos. I put my calendar over here because you guys always say my background is extremely boring, which I think is funny because you're not wrong. So maybe that'll jazz it up. And then if I'm at the studio or my office, I can have that background, but I thought that was kind of funny. So see, I'm trying to take accountability because I have these really cool skateboards and some really cool artwork, but it's just too high. I can't get it up there. So I put the full moon this month is called the wolf moon. And one thing I'll just say that, and then I'll end this, is like the moon in the tarot on the card. She on the card, I don't have it here, but it has two wolves on the moon card. And one represents the domesticated dog, and the other one represents the lone wolf, the wild wolf, right? But sometimes those wolves do run in packs. So, it's important to see where you are and where you need to be. Venus right now is at 28 degrees of Aquarius. I wanted to see that real fast. So the moon is at 3 degrees of Aquarius and Venus still is in Aquarius. That moon in Aquarius is saying we've got to think higher. We've got to think outside the box. We've got to bring in this new energy. And Venus at that 28 degrees of Aquarius is saying know your self-worth. Know your self-worth in being unique, right? Know your self-worth in being who you are, and know your self-worth in bringing in these new ideas, creating them, and expressing them. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for reaching out to the city. She's very special to me, and I appreciate how special she is to all of you. And I hope that you've got some nuggets out of this little talk here on this 1/1 portal. And I do hope, because in my heart, I do believe 2025 is going to be a banner year. Just one last thing. My Seasons and Ritual calendar is up. If you guys want to get that, it's at seasonsandritual.com. And it does focus on there's dog hair, just on the winter. And and I did do a teroscope in there, and that teroscope is really intense. This is going to be an intense winter because we are in this energy of change. So it doesn't mean it has to be like hard and like super challenging and to the point that like it's gonna break us, because most of us, and I think most of you that watch these videos have been doing the work, but it is setting up the idea like it is going to be an intense winter and we need to be here to hold space, hold our energy, and to keep moving forward. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks again for the love and reaching out. Happy New Year, and stay shiny and stay bright.